I was teaching in a medical school.
Yeah.
And I was teaching the concept about genes, and everyone, of course, has heard about genes, and they believe that genes control their lives, So running in my family is diabetes, Alzheimer's, cancer, whatever it is, and they say, oh my goodness, I'm a recipient of such genes, and this is going to be my life. And this is a belief of victimization of heredity. It's running in my heredity, and I'm going to get these genes, and I can't control it. There's a new biology that switches this whole thing around because it reveals that genes don't control our lives. It's our perceptions and our response to the environment. It's the environment that influences the genes. Well, the relevance about that is since we can change our perceptions and we can change our environment, then we're not victims, we're actually masters. But we have to know that. We have to really come from an understanding that we are creating our lives, because if your belief is you're a victim, its belief is translated into biology. You become a victim if that's what you believe.
Yes, sir. So you kind of prove scientifically and biologically that the proof of that we in fact are in control of our genes, that our genes aren't controlling our lives. Can you give us a brief sort of bird's eye view of how you prove that, Bruce?
Yeah, it's a wonderful simple experiment. About 47 years ago, I was cloning stem cells. Now, about 47 years ago, there's only a handful of us in the whole world even knew what a stem cell is. A stem cell is an embryonic cell in your body. And the reason why we have all these embryonic cells is because cells have a life and they die. And if we can't replace the cells, then it won't be very long before all our cells die and then we're gone. So a stem cell is a multi-potential embryonic cell. Here's the work, simple. I get one stem cell, put it in a dish by itself, and it divides every 10 hours. So first 1, and then 2, 4, 8, 16, and the cells keep going. After a week, I've got 50,000 cells in the Petri dish. But here's the most important point. They all came from one parent. So there are 50,000 genetically identical cells. Okay, now here's the experiment.
Yeah.
I take that community and I break them up into 3 different Petri dishes, and I change the environment a little bit in each dish. Now, cells are like fish. They live in a fluid, so I create like an aquarium with all the things they need to live in it. That's called the environment. And I change the composition of the environment a little bit in each dish, okay? What happens is in dish 1, I get muscle cells. In dish 2, I end up with a different environment, get bone cells. In dish 3, yet a different environment, I end up with fat cells. Well, the whole point was this. What controls the fate of the cells? And you say, well, genetics. I go, no. They're all genetically the same.
Yes.
So the fate of the cell wasn't determined by the genetics, it was determined by the environment. Okay? And so the information in the environment is really what's involved with selecting our genes. So people say, well, okay, that's really nice. You got cells in a plastic dish. What the heck does that have to do with me? And I go, well, here's the fun part. You look in the mirror, Ty, you see this handsome guy looking back, you say, that's Ty, that's me, and I'm a single human being, a single organism. I go, a slight misperception for this reason. You are not a single entity. You are made out of 50 trillion cells. The cells are the living entity. You, by actual biological definition, you're a community. So you're a community of 50 trillion cells. And so the fun part is you're a skin-covered petri dish with 50 trillion cells inside. And you have an environment, a culture medium, and it's called blood. And the chemical composition of the blood determines the fate of the cells. That's what happened in my plastic dish. So to a cell, does it make a difference if it's in the plastic dish or the skin dish? No, it's still going to read the environment. So I say, then the blood is the culture medium, and the composition of the blood controls the genetics. And then I go, now here's the cool part. I say, but as I showed in the petri dish, if I change the composition of the culture medium, I change the fate of the cells. So I say, well, who or what controls the chemical composition of my blood? So we go up to the next level. I say the brain is the chemist. The brain is what releases the chemistry in the blood. And then you go one more step. You say, but what chemicals should the brain release into the blood? And I go, next level up, the mind. What do you perceive? What do you see? What are you looking for? So I say, for a person, I say, here we are. I stand here, I open up my eyes, and I see someone I love. Well, my mind perceives love and translates that through the brain into chemistry such as dopamine, the pleasure chemical, oxytocin, the bonding chemical, vasopressin, attractiveness, growth hormone, which enhances the growth of the cells. So when a person sees love, experiences love, the brain releases a cocktail of these wonderful chemicals. And think about it, when people are in love, they glow,
yes.
They're healthy, they have so much energy. I say, where'd they get that from? The culture medium. Okay? But I say, look, same person opens their eyes, instead of seeing someone they love, they see something that scares them. I say, do you release these same chemicals in love? And I go, no. When I perceive the world as threatening, or I'm living in fear, I release stress hormones, and I release hormones that control my immune system, inflammatory agents, these things that get me ready for fight or flight. And I go, well, here's the interesting part. As I said, the fate of the cells is based on the chemistry. If I take the chemicals released by the brain in love and put it into a plastic dish with cells, the cells grow beautifully. And I say, okay, wait. What about the chemicals that come out of a brain of someone in fear? I take those chemicals, put that in the culture dish, the cells stop growing. Wow. And they get into protection. Protections close yourself down. So the idea is this: when you're in growth, you're open to the world and you say, come on, bring it on. Yeah. But when fear or something comes in there, you close it down, and the chemistry of the fear is what shuts down the cells. Fear kills, basically what it's all about. So basically it says this: we always talk about mind, body, and those strict fundamental scientists go, oh, mind, body, what's that, blah, blah, blah. And I go, it's not a mystery. It's simple. The mind is an interpretation of the world. It causes the brain to release chemistry that matches the interpretation to coordinate 50 trillion cells to live in that world. It's your emotions, it's your perceptions, it's your beliefs. These are the sources of the chemicals that end up controlling the genes. This is a new science. It's called epigenetics, because epigenetics is a revolution of all of our understanding of science for a very simple reason. When I was a professor in a medical school, we were teaching the concept of genetics. And genetics, most everybody knows, yes, we have genes, and the genes control our traits, and that we get the genes from our parents, and so therefore the traits that are running in our family are passed down to us, and sometimes it's a good thing and sometimes it's a bad thing. You know, you got diseases running in your family. Last thing you want to know, oh geez, everybody in my family got cancer. It's like, am I going to be next? Well, I got the genes. Yeah. So that's our belief system that we've been teaching, that genes control us. That makes us victims, as I said, because we didn't pick the genes as far as we know. We can't change the genes, so whatever they are, they make us. Yeah. And so people walk around going, oh, my life is, not so good, I got these genes. Epi means above. So when I say epigenetic control, I'm literally saying control above the genes. It's the environment that controls it. Well, that includes not just the real environment, but our perception of the environment, because you could live in the healthiest of environments, but if you perceive it to be a threatening world, then your cells receive the perception. They don't read the direct world. Genetic control, you're a victim because the genes control you. Epigenetics is a revolution because it says, look, if the environment or my perception controls genes, I'm the one that can change my perception. I'm the one that can change my environment. So all of a sudden, I'm not locked in. I am free to change the way I live in the world, which in turn comes back and changes the genetic readout. And this is really what's so profoundly important. For example, a lot of people talk about the placebo effect.
Yes.
And they say, well, what's the placebo effect? Well, this pill is going to cure you. It's the greatest new science in the world. And I believe that, and I take the pill and I get better, and then they tell me it was just a sugar pill. So then the truth is, well, what healed me? Well, it wasn't the sugar pill. It was the belief in the pill. So everyone says, oh yeah, placebo effect. That's, yeah, you have this wonderful thought and you get better. And I say, yeah, but here's the problem. We've only talked about the placebo effect. There's another thing called the nocebo effect. The nocebo effect is, what is the consequence of a negative thought? And it turns out it's equally powerful in controlling your biology and your genetics as is a placebo, positive thought. Yeah. So we talk about, oh yeah, placebo, good thoughts create good health and good life. And then I say, yeah, and a bad thought, a negative thought, a nocebo effect can actually kill you. It can cause a disease. If you believe you're going to get this cancer because everyone says you're going to get this cancer, and then your perception is sending cancer thoughts into your body, the chemistry that comes from the thoughts to the brain to the body is a chemistry that doesn't support health, but it'll actually lead to your own death. So all of a sudden, it's the power of your perceptions, positive or negative, that override your genetics. Well, this is most amazing, because all of a sudden you look around and you say, but look at all those wonderful happy people, and look, they're not only just happy, they're also healthy. Yes. And the fact is, yes, they're sending in a chemistry that the cells will really thrive with. In this world, it is true that people want immediate action. That's the world we live in, immediate gratification. So if I'm sick, I want something immediately to handle the issue. And of course, we look to the world of drugs for this understanding. But the problem with this is that there are more effective ways of healing. Now, the problem with the energy healing is that it really involves consciousness, mind, and our ability to change our belief systems. Well, this takes a little bit more work than popping a pill. And in fact, I'll just give my own particular case. I remember years ago when I was getting off on this out of my conventional medical academic background and coming into this world, and I faced a stressful situation where I got pneumonia. And I started to realize at some point, it's like, okay, I'm going to sit here and grab a hold of this with my conscience and my spirit and get my immune system all pumped up and work on this. And I started to realize that the bacteria were dividing faster than my ability to control the bacteria. And so it came a realistic moment. It said, yes, I know I can possibly control this, but the effort that it's going to take is going to take a little bit more time than the drug. So I actually went and bought the penicillin. And the significance is when you need it at that moment. But the issue is, had I not been stressed, had I taken care of my health a little bit better, I would not have come to that precipice where I was forced into taking the drugs. And so the reality is that in switching from a drug-based reality into an energy, medicine, spirit-based reality, we have to go through a learning curve and learn how to take control of our thoughts, our mind, and control the biology that we were given. When we do that, then it's far better than the drug world for a very simple reason. There are no side effects. And so basically, it says that if you start healing with spirit and energy, that you get an unencumbered healing process as compared to dealing with drugs and then dealing with the myriad side effects that are listed on all the packages. So it says both work, but one is far superior to the other. And yet I wouldn't throw out the medication because when it's necessary, it's necessary. But it's just a little warning to you when your symptoms start going up. It says pay attention to the symptoms because the symptoms are really informing you that you're not living in harmony or in health and that the body is telling you this. And so rather than shutting off the symptoms with a drug, it's really important for us to take on a learning role and say, I am creating this situation and I can uncreate this situation without the use of drugs.
If you want some amazing affirmations with Dr. Joe Dispenza, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
When I'm going through change in my life or I have a specific outcome that I want to create, I love to get up early in the morning. That's my time. I'm a 4:30 in the morning guy because that's my time.